God, I gotta make some adjustments here. Make sure I have everything set up properly.
Well, look at that. The first person in the chat is Flair.
Hang on, I can't see my glasses. Is this the surprise? This is the surprise, Flair. Let me pause OneDrive because it's gonna lag. Anyways, heyo guys, Pandy351 here, and I can hear myself from Nessa's end because of how echoey this place is. You're probably gonna have to close the door to be in VC, Ness.
Yeah, give me a sec. I can't move, sorry.
I'm
I'm being held captive.
Too bad. You need to go turn where you can't talk because I can hear myself from your end. Okay, that's fine. This has chosen not to talk. Anyways, hi, welcome. It might be a bit echoey. But that is just because, well, there's not a lot here to stop the sound from bouncing around quite yet. It's all still not quite unpacked yet completely. Plus, I'm in the living space, so I'm in a pretty big room. Because that's my office. Is the living space. You have to go now, raccoon. Oh, well, fine. I guess whatever. You know what? I didn't want you here. I didn't want to tell you things. Whatever. PC, your voice sounds so crisp. So, I am currently no longer in the shed. I am, in fact, in my own office space, which is just the living room. But that's fine. We don't really need a living room anyways. We kind of just chill near my computer or in the bedroom anyway. But hi. I have moved apartments. I am in my own space now. It's all paid for. Have the keys. It's ours. We have stuff set up. Kara has taken a very much liking to the space. How's Kara doing with the move? Oh my god. Okay, so she has a backpack and a harness that is themed off of Stray, and she does not like that harness. She's not a fan of it. So usually, whenever I like move around the stuff, she kind of freaks out a little bit. So when I came to take her, I had to pull out the backpack. So I pulled out the backpack, and Kara saw me with the backpack, and instead of freaking out, she just kind of walked over, and I was like, "Hey, Kara, it's time to go." And she hopped up on the counter to get closer to me so I could put the harness on her. Like she was ready to go. And so I put the harness on her. I plopped her in the bag, and we went. And she gave me a few chirps just to make sure I was still there, But the whole car ride, she did wonderful. She was missing Ness because Ness stayed the night at our apartment. Not yesterday, but the night before. And I stayed at at my mother's house for an extra night. And then now we're here.
I stayed to unpack the kitchen, so we had a usable kitchen for the next day.
And yeah. So we still have a lot of boxes and crates stacked up. Not everything's set up yet, but I have an arcade-themed carpet under my computer now. We're working on getting a lamp for this area because it's quite dark. Though I don't mind. If I really cared too much, I'd just kind of like open the door a little bit. Like shades beside me. I need to check on Kara's cat box. I just realized I didn't check on that to make sure that was still functional. Yep. Oh, Kara went earlier.
She did. Yes.
Yeah. Kara tipping the scales at 10.9 pounds, all snuggled up and snug as a bug. Spent 118 seconds before strolling away, likely thinking now I can snooze in an instance in serenity. So we have an automatic cat box actually now. So that little blurb is the cat box. The cat box makes silly little comments whenever she's gone to the bathroom. So it makes goofy little comments, which is fun. Yeah. We haven't quite set up her food and water bowl, but she's got a bowl of water and a bowl of food. We just haven't set up the automatic ones yet because, quite frankly, I'm lazy. And also, I don't think it'll reach the where the cord goes, so we'll probably have to get another extension cord. We'll probably look to getting that tomorrow. Uh, but I still got my cabinets and stuff to set up with my plushies and stuff. I want to get my 351 figure back out again. Mostly because I want to make sure it's okay. It went through 2 moves without me checking on it, so it's a little bit of a Schrödinger's cat kind of situation. Of like, I don't know if it broke again, and if it stays in the box, then it can't be broken. So, but yeah, no, everything's been going really well with the move. Along with the move, I've been working on FNAF 2 here. I wanted to show that off. Let me clear out these notifications real quick. Of course, Flair's sending more vampire shorts. So this is the progress we have on FNAF 2 so far. It's not done, clearly, because I still haven't figured out the front room. I hate this room so much. Figure out something, but right now it is just, ugh.
I'll help you with that when I get my setup set up.
I'll probably need to make it bigger. That's what I should do while you're gone tonight. I should try to get to the plushies. That's what my tonight should be. So we have our puppet room. None of the art has been fixed yet. There's also a lot of empty frames because we're adding extra posters. I'm taking some. There's 2 posters from the movie, which I'm going to be taking inspiration from for 2 of the bigger posters. So that'll be fun. We've got Freddy and Friends. Well, I'm glad you're eating now, at least, Arm. Oh yeah, what did you think of the movie? Did I never go over the movie? Okay, I'm gonna just throw it out there. Movie spoilers. FNAF 2 movie spoilers. Okay, I'm throwing that out there. I'm gonna talk about the FNAF movie real quick. FNAF 2 movie spoilers ahead. All right. If you care about spoilers, get on out of here for, I don't know, a little bit. It probably won't take that long because I'm gonna quick summarize. I'm going to mute the stream for now. Ooh, that's what you should do. Mute the stream and I'll type in the chat when I'm done. Okay, so FNAF 2 movie spoilers ahead. All right. So here's my thoughts. One, I had an awful viewing experience. I'm going to be honest. We went in and we me and us sat in our seats, and the theater we have theater by is really nice. It has the really good recliner seats. But unfortunately, it's been a while since I've been in those seats, and I forgot how small they are, and I have gained quite a bit of weight. So they're a little squishy, if you're not the size that they expect you to be. But yeah, don't type spoilers in the chat. No. They can type spoilers. We'll just make them type. We'll just have everyone type something else so that it clears it. No. Don't worry. It's fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. So we got into the theater and we sat down, and so there are some people who sat down next to us, and I've heard what watching the FNAF 1 movie and the first showings of the FNAF 2 movie were like, and how there was a lot of energy, and everyone was really friendly and happy, and that was that's what kind of I was expecting. I saw at the very beginning there's 2 arcade machines with candy and Pop Goes Easter eggs, and I was ecstatic. And at that point, the people next to me were very upset about me making comments and getting excited. So they, in a lot more politer terms, told me to shut the fuck up. Which is fair. They've gone to a movie theater they want to watch, and I'm being disruptive to that, and they were hoping that I would stop. And I don't think that's wrong. However, unfortunately, what that means for me is that I had to mask because this is my special interest, and so I'm going to, get excited or make comments. And so I spent the entire movie basically trying to mask is really hard. So anytime anything really cool happened in the movie, I can't tell you too much after that really cool thing. Because what would happen is I get really excited and then I go, oh shit, I need to be quiet about this. And then I'm like, wait, what, where are we? Huh? Ah. So that happened quite a few times, which really sucked. A lot of people missed it, but I did see the Shadow Bonnie Easter egg. I was really hyped when I saw that. I was like, oh, there he is. There's the boy. I don't think I saw the Shadow Freddy one. I know there was a Shadow Freddy one, but I don't think I saw the Shadow Freddy one. But I did see the Shadow Bonnie one, so thumbs up. The movie itself, I think overall, I think it's a good movie. I don't have very many issues with the overall storytelling. I'm gonna nitpick some things in a moment because I do have some words for some things, but overall, the movie's good. It's a good movie. It's everyone insisted that it was scarier than the FNAF 1 movie, and I want to make it clear that I don't really think that. I think there was a little more gore, but yeah, you're a wimp, Flair. It's fine. There's more gore in it, but I think jump scare wise, there's about the same. Yeah, it kind of just had more jump scares, which I kind of like. I kind of like the fact that they upped the jump scares, and I do think some of the environmental tension, especially in the pizzeria, is really good. But anything that happens outside of the pizzeria is just no longer scary or tense at all. Which kind of sucks. Because at least in FNAF 1, even when you're outside of the pizzeria, there was still some feeling of tension and danger, even if there really wasn't. Which is what FNAF 1 as the game is really good at. FNAF 2, on the other hand, is not... I guess it's kind of like the game where instead of it being more scary and tense, it's more just a how many characters can we throw in one place with how many references we can make, which does make it kind of a slog at times, but I do still think the movie's really good, and I really like several of the scenes. Um, I'm gonna talk about a few scenes and a few of the characters. I what FNAF movie do you like more? Ooh. I don't think I can choose because I think I like and dislike them realistically the same amount. I think I'm a sucker probably for the FNAF 1 movie just because of the biases, but I think the FNAF 2 movie is still pretty strong. I think it's a pretty strong sequel. Um, so FNAF 2, the beginning cutscene with Charlie's death. I love that scene. I love the fact that the puppet is in the stage and not on its own. I love the trap door. I love the fact that when you watch her die, she just like slowly falls into this pit and is raised up by the puppet. That is a really cool scene. I think Matthew Lillard did a really good job in that beginning bit with like luring the kid off. I think that looked amazing. I love the part. I'm definitely when I work on writing my FNAF 2, there is definitely going to be some inspirations specifically on the puppet. I don't think because my toys do have their own souls. They're not being controlled by the puppet. But I do think I am going to take the idea of the puppet being more of like a like having control over the toys, and maybe she loses to control when she gives them their souls or something. Something more like that. But I do like some of the concepts from that. That is probably one of my favorite scenes. I think my favorite death has to be the first death in the lazy river. Or the barrel, the canoe ride or whatever you want to call it, where you see the guy come under the water and then you see the blood come up. I think that was genuinely a really good death. I think that was really solid. Because, like, you expect him to get dragged under. He gets dragged under. That was really cool. And I'm like, okay, solid. And then to see the blood come up was just like, oh, okay, wow. All right, that's where we're going with this. I think doing loose adaptations of things that were really only alluded to, like that opening scene, is honestly what the movies should be used for. Yeah. That death was really good. It was really good. I think the Ghost Hunters is really funny because I think at some point they call themselves investigators, and I was like, oh god, it's pie. Oh no, it's pie. I see. It was Balloon Boy, by the way. I think Balloon Boy's in the water the second time. The puppets are in the water the first time. Because we see the puppets in the water the first time. So I think because Ghost Hunters is a really common horror trope. Ghost Hunters are a common horror trope, but calling themselves like ghost investigators is not it's not super common. I find like it's not as common as you'd think. They usually call themselves hunters, not investigators. It's a very interesting form of language switch that I think is very interesting. Um, Carrying on. I think there's not a ton of other scenes I super like. I think the puppet coming out of Chica's chest was really cool. It was scary, but I don't think it was like a good scene. I just think it's kind of like, oh, wow, okay, that happened. I think all the trackers turning off and then one turns on and they realize it's by the house is a really cool moment. I think that gives a really cool payoff where if you go like, "Uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh no, the puppet's there," and then it changes to the scene of the puppet breaking out of Chica. I think that's pretty neat. Did you like the end? I will get to that because I think that's gonna be. I'm talking about that. Yes, I do like Mangle in general. Pretty much most of Mangle's scenes are pretty decent. I really wish Mangle wasn't in it. Mangle was. Oh, if you have an issue with spoilers, you should probably mute the stream and come back. This is weird spoiler. Like that is. I should probably add that to the title of the stream, huh? There we go. On the stream title now. Just in case people do care. Anyways, okay, back to what I was saying. So, I okay. Mangle on the car is really cool. I really wish they had utilized Mangle a bit more. Mangle is definitely like kind of a fan favorite character, and they did so well with Foxy in the first movie, only to pick Chica to be the predominant of the second movie. And I think it's because they think she's the favorite character, but honestly, she's the favorite for several reasons that are not meant for kids. So I think it's just interesting. I do really like how all of them look. Their physical like appearance and all of them is really neat. Especially, I'll give Toy Chica this. Seeing it from the side, from her, especially like the chest area, because everyone thought she had big assets. They actually did a really good job in the movie, making it very clear that those are not. That is just like the bodies are just rounded, and so that's why it gives off that appearance. Is with the bib, it makes it look rounded, which I think is really neat. Because it doesn't look like she has like huge chests. She looks like the other toys. I well, no, Chica's not a least favorite. No, she's the only girl there. No, she definitely has like quite a prominent people who like Chica. I think after this movie, I like Toy Chica a lot more than I like Toy Chica in the games. But I do think that it feels a little weird to have Toy Chica there as that. I will complain that Toy Bonnie basically doesn't talk except for like a scene, and that's a little annoying. I thought Toy Bonnie was a girl. No, Toy Bonnie's voiced by Matt Pat, which is the other reason I want to complain. Is it's really upsetting that they got Matt Pat voice acted for Toy Bonnie and then like basically had him never speak. Toy Freddy's line, like Toy Freddy also just basically doesn't speak. We hear no speaking from Mangle, which kind of sucks because we have a canon voice for him. And none of the prototypes talk, which it's like, okay. I was surprised to hear that Chica was Abby's favorite. To be honest, I don't remember her favoritism any of them in the first movie. I'm pretty sure it's because she's Piper's favorite. If I'm not mistaken, and also it would make sense because again, she's the girl of the group. Okay. So we're gonna keep talking about the animatronics, and then I'll switch to talking about the humans because I actually have a lot to say about the humans, and not necessarily positively, except for Vanessa because I think Vanessa is actually pretty solid in this movie. It's because Abby is a big fan of Megan Fox. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed on the animatronics role in all this. If there is one animatronic though that I think just like absolutely they did a stunning job with. It's the puppet. The puppet, they did so well. I was a little afraid of where they were gonna take the puppet and all this, and I think they did a really good job with Charlie. Just that whole thing in general was just fabulous. The fact that like, I think it's really cool that like she like manipulates Abby into helping her. I think that's a really neat dynamic. I do have some questions for how she knows some things that just wasn't really like shown for her that she should have known, or how she's talking through a fast talker that came from the first movie's location. But say la vie, whatever. That doesn't bother me as much. I will also mention that I am a little upset about Golden Freddy's disappearance, or Golden Freddy in general's existence, because in the second movie we're introduced to the concept that the animatronics can't leave the location, or else they basically lose all their power and die. Cool. I totally get that concept. We all agree that that's how that works. But in the first movie, we see Golden Freddy leave to go get Abby, which is fine. I think Golden Freddy being a ghost is okay. But then why wasn't he there the second movie? That felt a little strange. I do like the fact that the first animatronics do come back. I wish it was shown a tad bit more. Yeah. Yeah, they really hammered the fact that Chica was her favorite in this one, and I'm just like, okay. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the humans. We're gonna leave the elephant in the room for later. Vanessa. I think Vanessa Vanessa's just wonderful. I think they just did a wonderful job with her writing. I love the nightmare sequence she goes through where she sees her dad and her dad like chases her around and stuff. For somebody who has some extreme levels of PTSD and gets those kind of nightmares, I think those are done really well. Ness, how you holding up? Just checking in real quick because I just realized. How much longer until you have to leave? I don't want you to leave, but I need to know how long. Oh, I hope he didn't fall asleep.
I'm dozing. I got like 15 before I get dressed, and then another like 10 before I leave.
You have your alarms changed and set correctly, yeah?
No.
You should do that real quick. So that way you don't accidentally doze off and then get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The nightmare scene was so good. That scene, genuinely good shit. Well done. I love it. That was great. Circus Baby being there, I have some questions. I hope it's just an Easter egg, or I hope it's them attempting to be like, hey, if we could do more movies, I'm down for that. Because I think that would be kind of neat. But that's that. Okay. I'd say Abby is pretty solid in this movie as well. I think Abby's motivation of wanting to go fix her friends, then getting the device, and then being lured and being promised to help her friends, and she just has no idea. I think that is totally fine. I don't think I had any like negative feelings about Abby's character this movie, but I don't think I necessarily had any like overly positive moments of it either. And that's not to say it was bad, it's just Abby was used very strongly as a plot device for this one. It felt a little less like the first movie she felt very childlike, but she felt very smart in her own way. And the second movie just didn't she didn't seem smart at all. Like, she's clearly making really bad decisions. Um, which I guess she's a child, and so it's fair, but like, good grief. I think the marionette possessing people is really creepy. I think they did a really well job on that. The fact that she even possesses in the movie is kind of cool. Um, let's talk about some other people, huh? Shall we? Let's talk about Mike real quick. I strongly dislike Mike in this movie. I I think they did him so dirty, and I just I think they did Mike so dirty in this movie. Like, him lying about fixing her friends totally makes sense. I think that's a totally fair thing to do. Because it's like, I'm the older sibling and I don't know how to do this. And like, clearly he doesn't know how to deal with this kind of like trauma. So him being like weird about it is like, I totally get it. Yeah, when it, when she's trying to warn him about Abby going back, and he's like, "Oh, I just want to like fix things." I had immediate like, "Oh God, you never say that," but that makes sense for Mike. Like, Mike went like is just trying to make things better for his sister, or in all of this. So it totally makes sense that he doesn't really like he likes Vanessa and he considers her a friend and wants to keep her around because they're trauma bonded. But beyond that, there's no similarities between the two. And he hasn't gone through what Vanessa has. So he just doesn't get it. And I think they did really well on showing the fact that he just really doesn't understand what she's dealing with. And her like lying about things and him being complicated about that totally makes sense. But it's just like the ending where he like they like Vanessa chooses like Mike over family. Uh like, and then for Mike to turn around and be like, "Don't come anywhere near me," felt so empty. Like, it just felt really wrong. And I don't know if that's like that might just be a me thing. That might be something that gets paid off later. But that's just it. Straight up feels like he feels obligated to talk to Vanessa. I think I like I kind of get because like trauma bonding will fuck you up. And so there's definitely gonna be Mike is gonna be a little bit clingy to Vanessa because like holy shit, he almost fucking died, and that's really scary. Um, but it just it felt like the line was complete to set up for her to become Vanny. That is really what it feels like, is they just want to set Vanessa up to be Vanny in the next movie, which I would be fine with, but like also just I don't know. It would kind of make sense if like it would make far more sense if like oh, I don't even know. I don't even know how you'd end that right. Because like clearly there has to be some kind of conflict to separate Mike and Vanessa. Which, like, honestly, I think it would kind of have worked better if Vanessa and Mike did the ending, and then they're talking, and Mike says something stupid again about fixing her, and Vanessa, like, snaps at him and is like, I can't fucking believe I, like, chose you. And then him, like, storm off because he made her mad, and she just like stand there, turns around, and then you just see like the puppet come up or something. Like I think that could have been done way better. I just think that the fact that like he just like it felt very out of nowhere. It didn't feel very compelling. It felt very forced. That's exactly. It's just like for her to betray her blood family and then Mike to immediately throw that in her face feels so weird. I mean, it is something people do. So it is not something that is like outside of the realm of possibility. It just feels very insincere for his character. But also they did just like go through a life or death situation, so there could also be a concept of there being like some pressure there. Why did they leave when the marionette was still in the house? Well, I think they thought she went back to Freddy's or just died because she's outside of the perimeter. I actually really like the payoff because when the music box is playing, the puppet goes away, and when he put down the music box, it stopped playing. And I think I even like had a thought process of like, oh, it stopped playing. The puppet's gonna show back up, especially while the other animatronics were being destroyed. I was like, oh, the puppet's gonna show back up, and then like Abby's gonna have to dive for the music box, and she's gonna play it, and then everything's gonna be fine, and everyone will be great. And then just nothing happened, and I was like, okay, well that's kind of dumb. This feels like a whole like core part of this movie just didn't matter anymore. Okay. And then for the puppet to grab Vanessa, I thought that was really neat. I was like, okay, I'll give you that. That's a good payoff. And then my last biggest issue. Michael Afton. Let's talk about him. I genuinely hate his character so much. And it's not because like he's a very silly, trying to follow in his father's footsteps vibe. I totally get it. They're trying to do something different for the game. Plot twist. Mike isn't actually Michael like we all thought she was, while Abby was the stand-in for Elizabeth. It was actually a completely separate character, and this is just the movie universe. It confounds me and kind of feels like a plot device. See, I want to set a scene for you. Okay. So the ghost investors show up and they say that they got permission from the night guard to come check out the place. And then they say his name is Mike, and then we see Michael, and it's like, oh, this is a separate character. Oh no. He leads them in to get murdered. He sees the puppet, gets scared, and runs. Um, okay. To rewrite this scene, there's a small group of ghost investigators who are checking out the place, and they get a call about the recent craze about Freddy's all over again. And while they could go back to the first location, the location for the first movie, um, there had been, the building was unstable. There was like a huge cave in that happened in the building. And so they decide that that's not the good place to go, especially after like there was a bunch of break-ins. And so instead, they realized that one of the first locations is still there and has just been abandoned. And so they decide to go through the doors and check out the place. Uh, Everything that happens. They separate off to go check on things. The puppet grabs the one guy, Mango grabs the other, the girl gets grabbed by the puppet. Hooray, hooray, Charlie's now out. My issue with that is that in both scenarios, the same thing is accomplished. But Michael isn't involved in the second one. That whole scene would happen, the whole movie, the point of the movie would still occur for Michael not to be there. In fact, Michael is so unimportant. He shows up at the beginning of the movie and is just gone for the whole movie until the end where he has the scene with Vanessa. Like, that is just That's kind of it. He's really not. I Well, okay, no, hang on. The character he gets taken down by is I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a reference to Cassidy's dad, aka Bonnie Bro. So I'm pretty sure he's not a side character. In fact, I will bet money on the fact that he becomes more important in the third installment. Or at the very least, like he's either in the third installment or he comes in. Also, he was in the first movie. He was in the first movie. So he's like a side character, but I don't know if I'd just boil him down to that. Um, the animatronics had good lines. But just God, Michael's existence makes me so mad. Name one thing he does in either movie that moves the plot forward other than that. No, well, no, he doesn't. But I don't think he's supposed to be something that like move. I mean, neither does fucking Springtrap in the second movie. Neither does Afton in any way. I don't think that necessarily makes it a side character though. Henry also is just a side character that is, well, not a side character. He's like an unimportant in this movie character, but I don't think that makes him a side character. Speaking of Henry being there was cool. I appreciated that. That was solid. I think Mike being there talking with him is strange and doesn't make too much sense. But yeah, I think Michael only having two real scenes definitely doesn't help with what could be very complicated reasoning for also wanting to murder people, and just kind of ends that I do. Yeah, that also there's like no explanation. I think what we can gather from this movie is that at least in the movie timeline, Vanessa was used to help Afton lure kids. I think in some way, shape, or form, she was used to help because during the Charlie death at the very beginning, she like is really insistent on Charlie not following her dad. And so I get the sneaky suspicion that Vanessa has known what was happening for a very long time and was probably used to help, which is why the lines about like, he's hers and she's going to help him and all of that come into play. Um, so I assume Michael was, if there is a third kid in this, I have no clue, but it could be that Michael was just supposed to be Vanessa, but then he got too old. And so he used Vanessa when Michael got too old, and now he's like, I want to still help my dad. My dad doesn't love me anymore, and I need his approval. So, but I don't think it's a bad movie. I did genuinely enjoy the movie. Other than the fact that I like had to hold in my autism the whole time. I did genuinely enjoy the movie. I think there are bits and pieces that could be done better, but I also think in the same way it could have been worse. So, yeah. Oh no, I get why Springtrap wasn't there. No, I'm just saying that like saying that a character is just a side character solely for the idea that like they bring nothing to the plot would also mean that Afton was a side character in all of this. Because even though he is like important for the storytelling purpose, he didn't like move the plot along at all. Unless you count the end when he's getting dragged off. What do you mean? I mean, like Afton doesn't like he's important to the storytelling, but he doesn't do anything to like. Yeah, only in the first movie though, and he's completely gone in the second movie. Which I mean, he's supposed to be. That's the whole point. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, I am pretty sure Bonnie Bro is going to be a bit more important in the upcoming movie. Um, Mostly just due to the fact that Vanny is going to get involved, and he is heavily tied with the glitch cult and like that whole thing. I think it's interesting that he's not involved with Michael though, and that he's involved with Mike. There were so many parallels that just brought us to think that Mike was supposed to be like the movie's version of Michael, which was so confusing then when they brought in Michael, but I kind of like the fact that Charlie didn't blame Afton and blamed the parents more. I actually did really like that. Because it's not like he ever saw his face, it was just the yellow rabbit. Like, if you think about it, Charlie didn't have a face to hate. She had never seen his face. She had no idea who he was. So I just think it's interesting. I like the movie, and I'm excited to see what they do for the third movie. In the movie, Michael gave me Elizabeth vibes a little because all Elizabeth wanted was Afton's approval, and Michael now wants to be a part of this. Yeah, it's like Cassidy with the anger taking over and craving vengeance, but taking it out on different people. That is, yeah. I've always seen the ghosts as being more like the way that Charlie was shown in the movie, where it was less about this is our killer and we need to stop him, and more about why us? Why did we die when you get to live? That statement is probably the best description of Henry. Yeah. Oh, and Secret of the Mimic now throws like the whole game's lore into complete spiral, and I actually sat down and went through the lore of Secret of the Mimic the other day. Like read through the notes, listened to the audios a few times, watched a few game theories, watched a few other theory channels, and just sat there and went over all of it. And Secret of the Mimic is such a good game, but from a story perspective, ooh, I'm gonna be so I get the feeling Scott's moving away from the idea that the ghosts were possessing the animatronics and it was actually something else. And I've always been very unhappy with that. I like the supernatural aspect of it. I think it's kind of neat. I really hate that it's moving into more sci-fi stuff. I think the sci-fi aspect is cool. I think it's fine to be its own thing. I really don't like that they're making it, well, it was actually just sci-fi and not supernatural the whole time. I think that's rather upsetting. I also really hate the fact that they've basically just been like, oh, the first like 6 games just aren't canon. That's also really upsetting. Do you think Garnet is possessing any of the animatronics? No. Unless they pull something out of their ass for the third movie, I think it was pretty clear that he's not. He's not in the main Ghost Kids from FNAF 1. I think the theory was that he was going to be the puppet, and he's not. So I just think that well, he died outside of the pizzeria, so it don't count. He can't possess nothing. I read comics, so I'm so desensitized to insane retcons and just taking what you get. Only difference with FNAF is how directly you get information. Yeah, and Secret of the Mimic did do a really good job of actually, like, being more direct on things and just being like, "This is how this works." And I think that's really neat, but how they did that is, uh, man. But overall, I think the movie is pretty good. I have some pretty positive notes, I have some pretty negative notes. I think this one felt a bit more the FNAF 1 movie, there was not really a scene that I disliked. All of it was really good. I really liked all of it. The second movie, there's more back and forth. You've got some really good scenes and some really bad scenes. You've got some really well done characters and some really not so well done characters. I think the acting in all of it was great, though. The acting was fabulous. I think they all did a really good job. There never really felt like a moment where somebody was like being fake with the acting, which is nice. Very nice. Oop, Ness left the VC. I just noticed. Meh, 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 meh. Oh, yeah. If anyone hurts Mangle, I will kill everyone. I was so sad about Mangle being hurt. I mean, it was a cool scene, but man. Man. Bummer. Such a bummer. Bring me the paw print blanket. Can you bring me the paw print blanket? Thank you. Stop giving me errors, computer. You're fine. Um, if we get through the movies without the speech happening, I'll literally riot. The way they're setting up the movies kind of seems a little bit like they're wanting to do more than just three. And by what I've seen from interviews and stuff, they seem to kind of hint at the fact that, like, if Scott wants to do more, which makes sense. They're kind of on a little bit of a low right now. Blumhouses, at least. I wouldn't be against more movies. I would love a FNAF 4 movie. Specifically because I want to see the Nightmare animatronics. I would love to see those recreated. So, but yeah, okay. Chat, can you in the chat, I'm gonna switch to hang on, I'm gonna switch the emojis. I'm gonna switch emojis and then we're gonna spam a bunch of emojis and then we're gonna do no more spoilers. Hang on. Let's switch emojis first though. So I just realized that I think you guys still have the David emoji. And you shouldn't have that anymore. Because it's past Christmas. Hold on, don't spam yet. Don't do it yet. You gotta wait. Let's see. There we go. Your emoji should be switched. So just spam Sonia in the chat. Let's get some Sonias in the chat. There we go. Now people know that they can come back. Give me some Sonias in the chat. There we go. Just put some Sonias in the chat, you know? That way no one will see any spoilers. Yeah, you'll have to close and reopen chat. There we go. Okay. But so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Anyways, let me show you the FNAF 2 building I have here. So over here we have our main stage. Not all the banners and stuff have been redone, so we're still working on that. Then we have our Pirates Cove, our Kids Cove. We have our stage for our Toy Foxy, and we have a full ship here. You can go into over here, peek out the windows. Then over here is I ran in here a few bit. This is our arcade / playroom. This is where BB and JJ is gonna be. So you got BB and JJ. And then you've got the carousel, which actually works. Well, working is a relative term. It doesn't move, but it's like this. If I wanted to do a ton of redstone, I could make it actually turn. You wouldn't be able to ride it while it's turning, but it'd be able to turn. Don't know if this is a spoiler, but will they just be starting as Mangle, or is that something that happens during? I'm gonna say that's a spoiler, and I'm not gonna answer that. I will say that's a spoiler. You'll just have to wait and see. Or eventually I'll just say it because I get too excited. We'll see. But over here is our ball pit. I wanted a ball pit because one of the nods to Nightman being called Nightman is actually Day Shift at Freddy's. And Day Shift at Freddy's 2 has a ball pit where Mangle's at. I think that's silly. the concept of Mangle hiding in the balls and poking their head out is very funny to me. So we have a ball pit. That was the solution to that ball pit. Over here we've got our kitchen, which is really nice and well done. You gonna head out? Yeah. I love you. Hmm? Do you need caffeine? Why? You stay safe, okay? Love you. Oh, come here. Come here. Oh, okay, let's go. 'Cause I think you've got it. Oh, you've got the sleeve in. I know. Here, hang on. Here. All right, love you. I'll lock the door behind you. Ball pit is clearly a reference to ALWH. Lamau. All right, hang on. Let me go lock the front door. I got that's a water bottle. Stop. What is doing that? Every time I shift my computer, it's freaking out right now. Anyways, so over here is our freezer. Freezer. Very cold, very nice. And then we have over here, we have our our employee room. There's a little medical bed. Because here at Fazbear Entertainment, we treat our employees right. Because we're legally obligated to. Kara, what kind of stupid shit did you just do? I just watched you backflip over there. What the fuck are you doing? Freezer with no safety switch to open from the inside. Just now realizing that the butterfly effect for why this is all happening is OSHA not existing for real. Kara? Kara! Oh my god. Hang on. Just because Ness isn't here doesn't mean you get to do a little shit. Yes, you're so cute. I'm gonna keep accidentally kicking my computer until I can get this corn. Anyways, continuing on. One of my favorite additions actually is, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a walk over here from the stage. I wanted to do this that way if the curtains are closed, like that there's like a hidden door. I thought that was neat. Felt pretty good about that. Anyways, we have a hallway here with some posters, and we have the boys' bathroom, and then we have the girls' bathroom. The walls and stuff haven't been like decorated or anything yet. I'm gonna get there. The one people sometimes put from Pirates Cove to the maintenance room, that'd be kind of neat, actually. I think that's pretty cool. Girls versus boys is crazy. I didn't know men don't get stalls. They can piss on the floor. They're men. Anyways, here's our parts and service. I realized that this room here, so this is your parts and service usually. This is where the wizards are. There isn't really any place to do maintenance. So you can't really service the animatronics. So this is parts, and this is service. You're welcome. I think I'm pretty funny. Over here is one of our party rooms. We've got first party room, we've got our second party room, and these need to be redone, and they will be redone. I'm even going to make it so that Balloon Boy can be taken off the wall. Because I think it would be really cool if at some point the Balloon Boy just ends up sitting in my office. I think that would be silly. So I'm going to figure out how to do that in a way that doesn't make my life pain. And then over here we have our wet floor, which looks so much better than it did originally. There's even both sides of the wet floor sign. We have over here, and then we have our vents. And I was in the middle of working on the vents when we started moving because, oh boy, these things are giving me a run for their money. But I think I figured out what I'm gonna do. The lights don't work right now because those aren't gonna get set up until I have an idea on how much space I have to work with to make stuff work. Okay. And then we have this closet, which is going to have the Freddy mask and the flashlight. We have this area, which is the generator. I haven't decided yet, but I might connect the vents up to the generator room. Just because it would be another way to get out of the office that isn't being bodied by animatronics. And then we have both vents, but we also have a secret room right here. This is the Piss Bears rooms. So you've got Golden Freddy, Withered Golden Freddy, and Toy Golden Freddy back here. These aren't rooms that'll actually be seen in episode. It's more for my entertainment, if anything. Because they're both like ghostly people. My guess is the Shadows might get a secret room as well, like that. Probably like right here or something. But yeah, it's FNAF 2 so far. Nothing else has been like set up. Like none of the redstone. So like the puppets box just kind of goes to nowhere right now. See, nothing. Because this is actually going to be the entry point for the redstone. Because the puppet actually has to control quite a bit of redstone in this place, considering that they have to like click levers and stuff. So I'm going to figure out a way to, I think the biggest thing I want to do is I want to have 3 levers or buttons or whatever. They can just be buttons as far as I care. But I want to have like 3 buttons one that obviously turns on the puppet like chase sound. I want to have the button that cuts this lever from working because I think it'd be really cool if I have to actually like flip this back on and off, but I don't know how to do that yet. I will contemplate for long periods of time how to do that, Redstone. But yeah, I just wanted to like make a stream and be like, "Hey, I'm back, guys. Did you miss me? This is much shorter than my usual time before I stream again." Because usually I just come and go as I please. But hopefully I'll be able to stream more now that I have my own place. We still have some like moving and stuff to do, so that's gonna kind of take up some stuff. And sometime in June or July we'll be moving again. Because Silent plans to move down here. And so we're gonna look to getting a bigger space when that happens. Still with the same apartment complex, just with an extra room. Or if not, one of their little townhouses. Either way, I really like the space. It's really nice. Place is really nice. Neighbors seem really friendly. So yeah. But I'm gonna end the stream here. Because I am tired and I have some stuff I have to do before I am allowed to go to bed. Which includes getting to the TV trays. We're gonna see how well that goes. But at least for now. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a awesome day, and TTFN. Bye-bye.